And that's a spot that we could see golf ball size hail yet again. All right, so here's your forecast for Kansas City, and we've updated it just to give you another vantage point around town. There are going to be thunderstorms. There is the risk of severe weather, and it really ramps up again tonight, like last night, into the evening and into the overnight. That's when thunderstorms are going to be firing on up. So here's the area to watch from eastern Kansas all through northern and central Missouri, even southeastern Iowa. Yes, over here, Springfield, you will have that chance of storms into Illinois as well. Hail is going to be the primary threat, but there's also a damaging wind threat and an isolated tornado risk. So here's everything in place. Moisture coming north. I know you feel it out there. It is felt spring-like. It's going to feel even more like that today as temperatures warm up too. And so we will be in a atmosphere that will be conducive to some thunderstorms, but it's going to take until this evening. There's, just some warmer air aloft that's going to prevent storms from going any sooner than that. So here we go up towards, say, central Missouri. We see thunderstorms go, and it could be hailstorms right away. Golf ball size hail, get ready. The chance for that across central Illinois into Indiana, including around Indianapolis. And then, by morning, you could see some thunderstorms even up towards Chicago, but this is all just part of round one. Round two is definitely going to be a bit more active as we look ahead to tomorrow. This is Saturday morning in terms of what we're watching. Tomorrow's STEPH into the afternoon is when we really
5 and 6 on the scale. So that is a significant number, and there it is, right basically into western Illinois and then crossing over into Iowa as well. And what's interesting is we have 3s, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Ohio, Kentucky, places where you think we'd have a number higher than northern Illinois. We're getting a 5 and 6 here in the northwestern Illinois. How could that be? Right? The stormy stuff is always by the Gulf Coast. No, it has to do with the winds. So southerly flow, look at this, coming up into Illinois. You go up 5,000 feet. The winds cross. And then, by the way, we're getting a jet stream that's coming around and punching right into this area too. So you have all of these very strong winds, and so that gives us a chance of tornadoes and then hail, the threat of an inch or greater. Now, remember the line we just showed you? That's essentially all of those were about an inch. We're talking an inch or greater is likely. So that's when you get into the damaging hail. So golf ball size hail, 1 3/4 inches. That's when you really start to get that damage. We could see it bigger than that. So here's a look. There's our front, right, coming through. Storms all along that into the afternoon and holding into the evening hours, even in the south, right? I mean, we still have that chance. Even once that blows through you, you're going to have to deal with the upper level low. It's not going to be one of those where the front, comes through and then you get the sunny skies. You have the upper level low to go through, which is much colder and much cloudier too. So we'll watch for that. But Peoria, this is for our Saturday. It kicks off pretty early for us and then does linger a bit. St. Louis, we are going to get it once we get some of that daytime heating and that jet. Now, it's been all about the south, right? We've been talking a lot about that rain, but it's not only the south. If you look at that a little bit closer, notice the Midwest getting in on some of that heavy rain and also into the Northeast. Yes, have we been absolutely drenched right here? Absolutely. But as you can see, month to date, some of us in the Midwest have seen over 5 inches of rain. Now, the past 7 days, I know the bulk of it has been here into the southeast, but focus in on right here. That's where we're going to be adding to it. Why? Well, because we have this huge jet that's pushing moisture mid to upper levels right into the Midwest. And here's that upper level low that caused all that hail that we've been showing you, right, in California. This is going to eject out and help kick off some of that severe weather. Now, that was me just freehanding it. Here it is, nicely drawn by our weather producers. Matt Jones, by the way, is holding the fort down today. Here's a look at a boundary today that will, it's going to kick off some storms and whatnot. 1 to 2 inches of rain, some of us getting perhaps a little bit more than that. But through tomorrow morning, we could have some spots that get flooding. We've seen some flash flood warnings that have been put out this morning. But here's the thing tomorrow. We're in the warm sector right here. That's a good place for severe weather, but it's also a good place for flooding rain. Look at the moisture on this model, all right, coming in. So we've got it there. And so that means that you could have some flooding through even Sunday morning in a lot of these places into the Midwest. Then we shift back down to the south as we head into next Monday and Wednesday. So both the European model and the GFS have that heavier rain in essentially the same vicinity. So that's a really good indication that we are going to see some of that heavier stuff on already saturated grounds. So listen, Memphis, at least we get Sunday. And I'll tell you this, look at that nice 71 and sunny. Can't get much better than that, especially in Memphis, how it can be so hot and humid. And then we are going to cool off a little bit here as we head into our Tuesday at 64 degrees. So that's a look at Memphis over the next 5 days. How about as we look at the weekend, Jen, for everybody across the country?
So that Memphis, and springtime in Memphis is like one day, and it happens to be Sunday, right? That's about perfect. Enjoy it. Now, elsewhere across the nation, we'll take you through the next couple of days here. Get you through the weekend, your weekend in view. Today is Friday. The southeast, so warm, so hot. Temperatures hitting the upper 80s, record-breaking in the south, 86 degrees in Atlanta. So, you know, look, maybe you are working from home. Try to get done a little early today so you can go out and enjoy this weather. To the north, of course, we've got all the rain and storms tomorrow. And the new National Drought Monitor is out, and all the rain we've been having coast to coast has started to make an impact, or at the very least, it's not getting worse, right? So California saw some slight improvement and definitely not getting any worse thanks to the rain that we had recently. And a little bit actually in Texas. We saw some slight improvement on the northern edge of where we've had this severe and extreme drought. However, this drought monitor leads us to today's weather wisdom question, where every morning at 50 past the hour, we're going to open up our weather classroom, teach you some fun and interesting things about the weather. And today's question comes from Ms. B. She wants to know, how are drought levels determined? And by the way, Ms. B, I love your handle here. Math is not scary. It's not. I love math. And math is definitely one of the factors that goes into the equation, right? We're adding up all the different pieces of information, the data that goes into making this drought monitor. And it's actually several different authors that come into play. The USDA is part of this, the National Weather Service, or NOAA, part of this as well, and the National Drought Mitigation Center. So let me just draw, and I'm going to use blue, where we have this severe drought. And in South Texas, this has been holding on pretty firm here over the last several months. This is where we've had a lack of rain. There's lots of different data, though, that comes into it. It's not just about pure rainfall, but of course, that's a big one. Where has the rain been in the last month? It's all been north of this area in South Texas. Also, you can look at stream flow and you can look at river levels, and that's another piece of data that goes into making the drought monitor. There's several different authors. You know, this is a little subjective too, because it's people that make up the drought monitor in terms of where drawing the maps and where do you see that severe drought. This is some of the data they use, and you can see in that area in South Texas that it has been, you know, an area that doesn't have any issues with flooding for sure because of how dry it has been. Temperatures often go hand in hand with that, where they're warmer than average. And of course, the soil moisture, crop moisture, pastures, and how the moisture is there, all part of the data that goes into making of the drought monitor. Now, what weather do you want to gain?